Hey everyone, welcome to the Reptile Room. Today, we're going to look at Luna's enclosure. She's a cinnamon fire bee. She is 2 years old. Sorry, I had to double check. Hard to keep track of them. She's 2 years old. She's a female. Like I said, cinnamon fire bee. Really cool. She's very shy. She's tucked over in the corner behind the water dish. She did eat last night, so I'm probably not gonna pull her out or handle her a whole lot, but she needs a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of a cleaning, and a little rescape with some other driftwood that I got. So let's get into it. As you can see, this enclosure is an old console TV. It's been totally gutted. Everything's been discarded appropriately. I've installed some acrylic on the front. I've replaced the speakers with some acrylic panels as well, just siliconed them in place. Stood up to the test of time. This enclosure itself is probably, I would probably say, a little over 10 years old. It's probably due for a sanding and a paint job, probably black. Let me know what you think. And then I did have a background, a custom printed background. I just went online and found something I really liked. Went ahead and got it printed on a material called rough wrap. It sticks really well to plywood, so I got that printed out from a couple of awesome people and installed it, and it's held up really well for the last couple years. There's a small light fixture screwed up to the top of the inside of the enclosure, and she has under tank heating here. I did have to thin the plywood bottom. You don't really use under tank heaters on plywood, but it keeps the whole wood, it distributes the heat really well. You just have to run them a little warmer. Not really a big deal, I haven't run into any issues with it. But we'll go ahead and get in here, pull a couple things out. I'm just gonna rough up the substrate, move it around a little bit. Probably there's some live plants in here. I'm gonna probably end up pulling those out, clean the water dish, you know, and then, like I said, throw a couple pieces of driftwood in there to make it look a little better. So here she is. This is Luna. I really love her pattern. She looks a lot like graffiti, and I really like the little bits of solid white. You can see here, they're just ice white. It looks so cool. Really kind of stands out. I love the cinnamon really kind of comes through, and you can see the fire down in there. And ultimately, I would really like to see a pairing between her and Jane, the dragonfly. Check out his video, and I think they'll make some really pretty babies. I have no doubt in my mind that they'll make some really pretty babies. So we'll keep going on her enclosure. All right, well, this plant hasn't been doing so hot in this enclosure. One thing I do know is that it will come back. You've seen it in the other two ball python enclosures of mine. It will live in water, so it will come back and reroot and everything in the water. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little snip. See how it kind of steps up here. I'm actually just going to cut it across at an angle. Give it a nice clean cut, and that'll tell all the dead area to, it'll stop sending all the nutrients to the dead area and hopefully start to make a comeback. So then I'm just gonna toss it in the water, and we'll see how it gets on. I'll let you know if it comes back or if it doesn't, whatever happens. It's okay, I'm probably gonna pick up a couple more plants this weekend. All right, so now it's time to make the choices on what different pieces of driftwood I'm gonna toss in here. I want to see if I can get her to stop using one of the fake hides. I would really like to put more natural stuff in there so that she can use those as her hides. If you see me looking over here, she's in the blue bucket that I use to hold extra substrate. She keeps trying to escape, so I'm just keeping an eye on her. I couldn't find my my Rubbermaid container to hold her in that, so I'm just kind of keeping an eye on her. Well, that's a huge piece of driftwood. I just got it. I've let it kind of, it's been cold outside, so it's been frozen for a couple days. So I brought it in, let it warm up, and I'm not really worried about anything being on it since it was frozen. I mean, it was frozen solid. I washed it off a little bit, just rinsed it off, used my air hose, just kind of blew out any dust and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna go for that right now. Now I just gotta see what else goes in here and make it all pretty. And then the last piece I'm going to put in here, I may go try to find some rocks. So I'm not going to say last piece, but this is her offering plate. This is what I put the rodents on, just like the other ones. So it turns out that all the rocks that I had were actually out in my garage where it's pretty cold. So I can't put any of that in here because that's just going to be super cold. So I'll throw a couple pieces of rock in here later. And when I do that, you know, after she settles in, I'll kind of give you a tour of her enclosure. Well, she really seems like she wants to bite me. I've lucked out and I haven't been bitten by anything other than Ronnie in this room. So I'm going to try to keep it that way. Let's get her back in here and see what she does. Well, she's in there. Made this little hide back here for her just by laying over this other piece of driftwood. So hopefully she kind of figures that out. That is her hot spot. That's where she likes to spend a vast majority of her time. You see she's checking me out. So other than that, I just put this other piece of driftwood over here because it was already in her enclosure. There's that little piece of greenery right back there. We'll see how that kind of takes off. The roots are just sitting right over the little air circulation stone, so I may turn that on a little bit higher, but we'll see. I may also put something else so that not a lot of minerals get splashed up on the back again. That kind of looks gross and I can't really get it off. Oh, there we go. She seems like she's gonna go on in. Alright guys, that kind of wraps this video up. If you haven't already, go ahead and give me a like. Give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel to see more. I've got a lot of projects going on. There's gonna be a lot of information coming soon. I got a couple of big plans for the spring and summer. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't already, give me a subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified when I post up a video. Try to release a couple a week.